Okay, today I'm going to be going over just a couple of the basic features of the pen and eraser tool in Activeinspire Studio. So the first thing I want to show you is where they're located. So if you look to the right in your toolbox, you have these boxes with different colors in them. Underneath it you have these little round dots in different sizes. You have a slider tool underneath that. And then right below that you have the selector tool, and underneath, if you just kind of scroll over, it'll tell you the pen feature if you're not sure. If you just scroll over, it'll let you know. So here we go. I'm going to select the pen feature. After I select the pen feature, I can actually come up here and I can change the color of the writing. So let's go ahead and select blue. And then underneath it are these little round circles, and I'm going to start with the 2. That's one of the smallest. So if I go down here and I write with the 2, you notice the line is pretty small. I can come over and I can go back to the circles, and I can actually make my pen width even larger. And let's try the largest one. And after choosing the largest one, I'm not limited to those sizes. If I really want to make it a little bit bigger, I can actually come underneath to the slider and I can change my slider to be any width that I want. So let's go ahead and use a 63, and I come over here and I write, and you can see that the pen width of a 63 is pretty big. The next thing I want to show you is what the difference is between the pen and the highlighter, which is really just like what we use, not in technology. It's a highlighter you can see through. But I can also select the different colors of highlighter that I want to use. So I go up here to the box and I select what color I want to use, and let's do orange. And I can also change the size of my highlighter. Come over here and I highlight, and you can see that the pen is not see-through, the highlighter is. The next thing I want to show you is the eraser tool. So I'm going to come over here again to the right, and I'm going to select my eraser tool. After I select my eraser tool, I can actually change the size of my eraser as well. I like to use this on a medium size because a small is just too small. So you probably want to use a medium so you're not spending a lot of time erasing. But I can come over here. What I want to show you is when I erase, it just erase what I've written in pen or what I've written in highlighter. Basically what I've written on this page here in my flip chart. It does not erase the text box, and it doesn't erase any objects that I've put in my text box. So if I go to my next slide, I want to show you how you can use the pen feature in the classroom. So let's say you've created a question for your students and you want them to come to the board and you want them to answer it. And I go ahead and ask them, Benjamin Franklin was not only one of our founding fathers, he also is credited for what other invention? And I want my students to come up and I want them to answer the question. So I would go ahead and select the pen tool. They can select the color that they want, and they can also change the width. I'm going to go ahead and use a medium size width here. And my students can actually come up and they can answer the question. They can use the mouse, or if you have a Promethean board, what's really great about the Promethean board is they can actually come up in their fingers and they can actually just go ahead and use their fingers. So let's say they started to write Ben, and they go, oh man, I made a mistake. So they're going to come over and they're going to choose the eraser feature, and they can actually come and erase it, and they can try it one more time. And then that is one way you can have your students come up and answer questions. Another way you can use these pen and eraser features in the classroom is I can go ahead and create a question that I want my students to answer. So I've asked a question, who was the founding father of the United States that discovered electricity? And this time I want them to come up with the name of the person. So I'm going to go ahead and select my pen tool. And I'm going to cover my answer because I really want my kids to go ahead and reveal the answer. So as I'm creating the slide, I can select my pen feature. Go ahead and select the color I want. I can change the width. This is where the width that's bigger comes in pretty handy. I can go ahead and cover my answer. And then when I'm presenting this in classroom, I can actually, instead of having them write on the board, I can actually have my students come in and answer the question, and then we can use the eraser tool to reveal the answer to the question and see if they've gotten the answer correct or not. So this is just a couple of the basics of the pen and eraser tool on Activeinspire Studio.